Hi, folks. It's Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates and Family Tree brand life coaches. Um, I want to talk today about something called chaos trigger panic attack anxieties. I guess it should be called chaos uh, triggering panic and anxiety attacks. Um, on Wednesday, yesterday, I had an experience where I I I woke up tired from a busy day of working at the office, and my ebooks, the website where I keep those, the ebooks had crashed, so I couldn't sell ebooks. I only had 3 hours left before I had to go in and see 6 more hours of clients. So what it brought up for me is a sense of feeling out of control. And when I feel out of control, I have a panic attack. My heart beats faster, I get sweaty, it's hard to breathe, and it was really nothing that was an emergency. So I had a decision to make. I could either practice self care and take care of myself to be ready to have a good Wednesday, or I could spend the time addictively trying to regain control so I didn't have to feel this horrible anxiety and chaos. So when you grow up in a crazy, dysfunctional, disoriented, unstable family like most of us did, then you suck in a lot of anxiety. And then you grow up and you want to order your life in such a way that you rarely have to feel out of control. It's not that you're controlling, it's that you fear being out of control. So it's sort of like my kryptonite. It really affects your body chemistry. It can take a foggy brain and turn it into just a confusing mess. It can make you trembly all day, or you can walk the path of recovery and do healthy things and turn it around. So I practiced the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Yesterday, I just didn't have the time uh, to do um, the work on the website like I wanted to fix the ebook problem. It was what it was. So um, I let it go, and I kept repeating that prayer, and I did some breath work. Man, it helps. And I went and had a good workout. I texted my wife and said, "Can we snuggle before I go to work?" So I got a shower. We snuggled. We talked. It was human connection with somebody who loves you and you love. And then I even had time to have lunch with my daughter. So then I get to work and I got a spring in my step. My brain's feeling good because of the workout, because of the connection with my wife, because of the connection with my daughter. And I was able to be really present for my clients. But let me read the Serenity Prayer. There's an extended version, and I thought the Serenity Prayer basically was something that just was an anonymous thing by 12 steppers, but actually it's written by a guy named Reinhold Niebuhr. It sounds like a German fellow from 1892 to 1971 he lived. Here's the extended version. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, and give me the courage to change the things that I can, but give me the wisdom to know the difference. Don't spin my wheels trying to use all this energy trying to change something when it's not the time and it's not the day to change it. The rest of it is living one day at a time, which became famous in 12-step circles, enjoying one moment at a time. So I needed to live in Wednesday from 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. and not live in my long-term goal of being a writer and selling ebooks. Accepting hardships as the pathway to peace. Did you know that hardships were the pathway to peace? Taking, as God did, this broken world as it is and not as I would have it. The great writer and teacher Byron Katie says you need to learn to love what is and not necessarily what you would like to form the world into. It's great when you can, but stuff goes south, and when stuff goes south, learn to love what is. So I had to let go and go, you know what? It ain't the end of the world. I can fix the ebook problem on Saturday when I've got some time. Trusting that God will make all things right if I surrender to his will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life. Couples come to couples therapy and they're like, we want to be happy. I'm like, good luck with that. How about reasonably happy? How about more good moments than bad? You know, life is hard. And if you grew up in a crazy system like almost all of us did, and then it's complicated by attacks from various narcissistic people that have caused complex PTSD, bliss isn't the goal. The goal is a reasonably safe, reasonably fulfilling life, and that's a great goal and it's achievable. And that I may be happy with my relationship with God forever into the next. Amen. So don't send me messages saying I got too religious on you. Okay, dudes? I'm not getting religious. I just read the Serenity Prayer, and you can substitute in whatever your higher power is, whatever it's a therapy group, a 12-step group, your therapy work, the people who love you, whatever it is. I'm not trying to shove religion on you by any stretch. So let me share for you how I experienced chaos as a child and why that wound is so deep and so easily triggered. When I would cry as an infant, that's the language of an infant. It says, I'm hungry, I need to be held, this diaper's getting pretty dang wet, I stink. You know, it says, I need some help over here because I'm just a little lump of babyhood and y'all been, come over and take care of me. And with a healthy family, there's attunement. A mom and or a dad pays attention. They can even tell the I need my diety change cry from the I need held cry from the I'm really hungry cry. So, but when you cry and nothing comes, then it kicks in really fear of death anxiety. It kicks in chaos and feeling out of control. The great psychologist Erik Erikson talks about early on developmental task of basic trust versus basic mistrust. And when you cry and nothing happens and you keep crying, you develop a basic mistrust in the universe. Some of you have heard about my cockroach issue. One of the big nemeses of my childhood were cockroaches. Because my mom didn't clean the kitchen, and several places we lived just had thousands of cockroaches, and you'd turn on the light and you'd see 50 of them scurrying. And I can't put into words just how it was like a nightmare every time that happened. Um, Once, my dad had moved back from Los Angeles upon hearing that my mother was about ready to get married to another fellow and divorce him. And this fellow she married was a total psychopath and child molester and rager. And my dad must have said something to my mother. My mother was a large woman, and she pushed him from one end of a large house all the way to the curb, pushing, screaming, yelling, cussing. And my dad just took it. He didn't get angry. He just got bullied out of the house. And all of us kids were crying. And I remember my grandparents picking us up on the curb, and my older brother had his arm around all five of us as we were crying. Financial anxiety. Folks, if you're worried about money, talk to a financial advisor, talk to your therapist, talk to your husband, but don't soak it in your voice and broadcast it to your children, because it'll freak them out. So I was very aware of financial anxiety. My dad wasn't a huge gambler, but he did have a bit of a gambling problem. And one day he lost his paycheck, and he called my mother, and I could just hear her shrieking, "Sam, no, no." There's just this horrific anxiety-filled wailing. And I can empathize with my mother's anxiety in those circumstances, but it did so much damage to us children. I remember my first stint of therapy was in 1985, and I saw a student PhD psychologist in training, and I told him a story about sometimes when my mom would rage, she would sit on me. And I weighed about 150 pounds, and she was over 3 bills. And she was a bully, and she was a rager, and I couldn't move, and I felt claustrophobic. And I told the psychologist this story, but I wasn't connected to the feeling of it. So I basically, it would freak him out. He brought it up every session, but it was years later until those feelings thawed out, and it did make me feel claustrophobic. Not being heard can cause you to feel panic and anxiety. And then another story I've shared is we were driving from Lubbock, Texas to Great Falls, Montana, because my dad was transferred yet again. And we were in a snowstorm. It wasn't like life-threatening, but my mom, who was filled with her own anxiety issues and drama issues, was praying supposedly the prayer to Mary, Hail Mary, full of grace, but it was so bathed in anxiety, it was just freaking me out. And that prayer didn't engender faith and safety. It just bathed me with anxiety that I still feel 5 decades later. So this is what I would encourage you to do. This was what I was able to do yesterday. I was sort of proud of myself. Is you can turn a bad day into a good day. What I did was I lived the serenity prayer. What I'm learning to do is get help with the things I'm not good at. When you do things you're not good at, they go wrong. When they go wrong, you feel anxiety and you might have a panic attack, and then you have a bad day, and then you're wanting to medicate in some fashion. So get help with stuff you're not good at and get other people to do it. Like Renda's a lot better with websites and passwords and Facebook, and when my brain's fuzzy, I don't do well with those things. But if I do things I am good at, like doing therapy, making these videos, It gives me a sense of accomplishment and mastery instead of bathing me in anxiety. So spend time meditating, spend time praying, work out, get endorphins moving in your body, and do your breath work. And you can overcome the anxiety of your childhood and not have to simmer and boil in the pudding of high heart rate, sweaty hands, sweaty face, and just being dominated by fear and not being in your full adult self. So I had a wonderful day. I was able to be there for myself, for my wife, for my daughter, and my clients. And in due time, when I do have the ability to change it, I'll fix the ebook thing. So I just wanted to share that with you. A way, first of all, to name what a lot of times our panic attacks are about. A lot of times it isn't necessarily about the shattering at the hands of a narcissist in your adult life. That certainly makes it worse, doesn't it? But it has its roots in the slow feeding of anxiety from your parent or parents all through your childhood. And by living the serenity prayer, handing up your anxiety, and then doing healthy things for your brain and body, you can turn a bad day into a good day. So thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel. Watch us on Tuesday night, the Church for the Narcissistically Abused. We also have a Facebook page, a group for the Church for the Narcissistically Abused, the live stream, folks. It's wonderful. Also, if you want to buy one of my books and you can't find it online because it's all screwed up, email me at just jones.basketball@gmail.com. Taken from the Basketball Jones, because I love basketball, but it's jones.basketball@gmail.com. I'll send you a link and you can buy yourself a good book on abandonment or on narcissistic abuse syndrome recovery. I want you guys to have a fantastic day. I love you guys, and I will talk with you next time. God bless.